Have you ever found yourself in one of those daily interactions where you just felt, well, a bit off?
Oh, definitely.
Maybe you walked away from a chat wondering if you'd missed something,
Mhm.
or, maybe accidentally created a bit of friction.
Yeah, that feeling. We've all been there, I think. That kind of social stumble.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if there were simple ways, almost intuitive ways, to make those everyday exchanges, well, not just smoother, but genuinely more joyful,
Yeah.
maybe even more impactful?
It's so common, that sense of unease or maybe just
Right.
disconnect. We navigate this really complex social world every single day,
Yeah,
from the grocery store, work meetings, family dinners. Sometimes the simplest chats feel like the biggest hurdle.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, today we are taking a deep dive into the practical art of human connection. We're using How to Become a People Magnet by Marc Reklau as our guide.
Great book.
Yeah, and our mission isn't just to, understand the ideas, but to pull out the most practical, actionable bits. Stuff you can apply right now to transform your daily life, your relationships, make them easier, more fulfilling, maybe even more fun.
And it's fascinating because Reklau's research points to something pretty profound, actually.
Mhm.
He highlights this idea that various scientific studies have shown if you learn to deal with other people effectively, you're like 85% of the way towards success in any job or business.
85%.
And get this, about 99% of the way towards happiness.
That's staggering.
It is. And okay, obviously our happiness is ultimately our own responsibility, right?
Yeah.
But the quality of our interactions with others, it undeniably plays a huge role.
That statistic alone should make us sit up and, pay attention.
Yeah.
And here's the really good news, according to Reklau. Good guys do not finish last anymore.
I love that.
Yeah, this isn't about being manipulative or just like a people pleaser.
No, it's about genuine connection, understanding the fundamentals of how people tick.
Exactly. These are often principles we kind of know intuitively. Maybe we even call them common sense,
Mm-hmm.
but they're incredibly powerful when you actually consciously choose to apply them. Okay, so let's really unpack this.
Mm.
Where do we even start with becoming a people magnet?
Well, to really become that kind of person, you first need to grasp a really foundational truth about human nature. It might seem a bit, well, self-centered at first.
Okay.
Reklau puts it very directly. People are, above all, interested in themselves.
Oh,
Now, that's not meant to be cynical. It's just a core reality. It defines how we all, move through the world. In pretty much every interaction, consciously or not, we're all kind of subconsciously asking, what's in it for me?
right. How does this relate to my life, my needs?
Exactly. My experiences.
And it's so true, isn't it? Even right now, as you're listening to this deep dive, you're doing it because you think it offers you something valuable.
Yeah, knowledge, maybe a new perspective.
Maybe just a shortcut to feeling a bit more confident day to day.
Yeah.
We all operate from this very human place.
We do.
So understanding that core truth, it immediately unlocks a major secret, doesn't it? For polishing conversation skills, making a good impression.
It really does.
Because, as the source emphasizes, people's favorite subject, well, for pretty much anyone you meet,
Mm-hmm.
it's themselves.
Precisely. And realizing that isn't just an observation, it's like an invitation to fundamentally shift your focus in conversation.
How so?
Instead of always leading with, I, my, mine, talking about your own stuff, your achievements, your opinions.
Which is easy to do.
Oh, totally. You pivot to your. It's about genuinely asking questions about the other person. Simple things like, how's everything going, Barney? Or how's your family doing?
Or what have you been up to, Mary?
Yeah. These aren't just polite little questions. They're powerful signals. They show you value them, their life, their experiences. It makes you a really sought-after conversational partner because it makes them feel important, seen, heard.
That desire to feel important, to be recognized, truly noticed, that's got to be one of the most fundamental human drivers, hasn't it?
Absolutely. It's arguably the most powerful motivator for people, a universal craving, whether we admit it or not. And you, in every single interaction, you have this amazing power to actually fulfill that desire in others.
How? By just listening?
Well, yeah, by actively listening, for sure. Also, by giving sincere compliments, and especially by using their name, like, thank you, Peter, for that insight, or Mary, I really appreciate your perspective.
That makes a difference.
It totally elevates your relationships to a deeper, more meaningful level. But, and this is crucial, Reklau really highlights this, your interest has to be real.
Right, not just a tactic.
Exactly, not manipulative. And here's a subtle but really powerful trick the book mentions. Pause for just a second before you respond to someone.
A pause.
Yeah, just a beat. That little silence, it subtly communicates you've actually listened to what they said. You're thinking about your reply, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Ah, I like that. Okay, now let's talk about navigating those daily interactions with maybe a bit more grace and, avoiding some of that unnecessary friction.
Yes.
The source makes a strong case, maybe even counterintuitive for some, about how just being agreeable can get you really far.
It can. And here's where it gets really interesting for, like, our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
Well, the reasoning is actually pretty straightforward. People are just naturally drawn to those who agree with them.
Makes sense.
And they tend to feel, well, an aversion towards people who constantly disagree. It's almost automatic psychologically.
Okay.
So this leads to what Reklau calls the magic question you should ask yourself in any potential conflict. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be in peace?
Right.
Versus peace.
Yeah. Because arguing honestly, more often than not, it doesn't lead to a real win. Both people usually walk away feeling a bit bruised, right?
Yeah.
Even if one person was technically right.
It certainly doesn't win you friends.
Not usually.
Yeah.
Or foster goodwill long term. Think about like a family dinner or a chat with a neighbor, or even at work.
Yeah.
Is proving your point always worth that emotional cost?
That's such a simple but really profound question to just keep in your back pocket.
Think about it in daily life.
Mhm.
Just a simple nod saying, I totally agree with you, or even just, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It can dissolve tension instantly.
It really can. It doesn't mean you have to, abandon your own beliefs.
No.
But it means choosing your battles wisely. And if you run into someone who just seems to thrive on conflict, the book calls them fighters, sometimes the best strategy for your own sanity
Yeah.
is just to disengage, walk away, gently change the subject. You genuinely don't need that kind of draining energy, do you?
Definitely not. Okay, so moving from those external interactions to more maybe internal habits that really improve relationships.
Yeah, building strong, trustworthy connections. A lot of that comes down to self-awareness, integrity.
Like what?
Well, the ability to admit your mistakes. It's actually an incredibly powerful sign of strength, builds huge trust. As the author points out, average and mediocre people don't admit their mistakes. They deny, they deflect.
Make excuses.
Exactly. But admitting when you're wrong, even a small thing, it shows humility, earns respect.
And on that note, 2 habits that can dramatically clean up your social landscape are stop gossiping and stop judging.
Oh, huge ones.
Just think about how you feel when you hear someone gossiping about someone else. Do you trust that person?
Probably not. You immediately question their integrity.
Right. Now apply that to yourself. And for judging, it's such a powerful reminder. Everybody we meet on our journey is fighting their own unique battle.
So true.
You never really know what someone else is going through. Quick judgments are often based on, incomplete info.
Yeah.
And maybe it's worth thinking, too, that often what we judge harshly in others, maybe it's something we don't like in ourselves.
That self-reflection piece is vital. Absolutely. Another crucial practice, maybe more for your own well-being than anyone else's, is to forgive everyone.
Including yourself.
Yes, crucially, including yourself. The source uses this really powerful analogy. Being angry and having resentments towards another person is like drinking poison and hoping the other individual dies from it.
Wow. That's vivid.
Isn't it? Forgiveness isn't about excusing what they did. It's about freeing yourself from that toxic emotional weight, reclaiming your peace, your energy. They're too valuable to waste on bitterness.
Yeah. And finally, maybe one of the toughest but most liberating practices for daily life.
Yeah.
Don't take anything personally.
Oh, that's a big one. A game changer if you can master it.
The author wisely says, it's not you, it's them.
Yeah.
Most of what people say or do, like a harsh comment or something unthoughtful,
Yeah.
it's often just a projection of their own inner world, their belief, their fears, their mood. It rarely actually has much to do with you.
Yeah.
So next time something stings, maybe challenge yourself.
Hmm.
Why is this affecting me? Am I taking on someone else's stuff? That pause for reflection can be so empowering. Helps you just brush off negativity.
Okay, so now let's maybe shift focus a bit from avoiding friction to actively cultivating connection. What are the habits that really attract people to you?
Yes. Let's start with maybe the most fundamental. Just being authentic, being real.
What you see is what you get.
Exactly. People pick up on that authenticity immediately, don't they? There's something really reassuring knowing people will connect with you on a deeper level just because you're being yourself.
Totally. You don't have to put on a show.
Or pretend.
And that faking it or constantly trying to please everyone, it usually comes from a place of insecurity, right? Low self-esteem.
Takes a lot of energy, too.
A huge amount of energy. And it's funny, the book says, funny enough, you will notice that the more you are yourself, the more people will be attracted to you.
It's counterintuitive, but it makes sense.
Yeah. When you're comfortable in your own skin, that positive energy just radiates.
Which ties beautifully into the sheer power of just positive interaction. Reklau talks about simply being nice, being positive, being friendly.
The basics, but so powerful.
And I love that anecdote he shares about the waiter at Disney World.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
His philosophy was basically, if somebody was rude to me, I became nicer and nicer to them.
And the more offensive they got, the nicer I became.
Yeah. It worked. In 99% of the cases, I ended up winning their sympathy. How brilliant is that for just everyday life?
Imagine applying that at work or, dealing with tricky customer service.
Totally. It's about being the bigger person, and often it just disarms them.
It really illustrates that what goes around comes around idea, but in an active way. When you consistently put out positive vibes through your words, your attitude, even just a genuine smile.
People want to be around you.
Exactly. And it's not just like wishful thinking. There's science behind it too. Smiling alone, proven to improve your own mood, boost creativity, reduce stress.
Even linked to longevity, right?
Yeah, people just feel more comfortable, more uplifted around positivity.
Okay, what about those tougher conversations? When you need to give feedback, maybe constructive criticism, to a colleague or even, say, a family member.
Ah, yes. The source introduces a really neat technique here. The feedback sandwich.
The sandwich method.
Yeah. You start with genuine praise for something they did well. Then you deliver the feedback or the suggestion. And then you finish with more genuine praise.
Okay, praise, feedback, praise.
But here's the crucial tip that makes it work. Use the word and instead of but.
And instead of but. Why?
Because but tends to just cancel out everything good you just said. It makes the first piece of praise feel insincere.
Ah, I see. Like, you did a great job, but you need to improve X.
Right. Versus, you did a great job, and I think we could maybe tweak X to make it even better. It's subtle, but it feels completely different, much more constructive.
That makes a lot of sense.
And equally important, maybe even more so for maintaining strong relationships, is the idea of let the other person save face.
Save face.
Yeah. This is huge in human relations, especially when someone's made a mistake or is in an awkward spot. Being considerate, allowing them to keep their dignity, even if you know they messed up.
It prevents burning bridges.
Exactly. It prevents relationships from being destroyed and actually fosters cooperation. Like, if you have to reject an offer, don't just say no.
Right.
Express gratitude for the offer, show genuine regret you can accept, and maybe, if you can, suggest an alternative or a substitute. It builds goodwill instead of resentment. It's about prioritizing the connection over just being right.
Okay, moving on to habits that really empower others and leave that lasting positive impression. Let's talk about praise again.
Yes, let's.
Just think about how you feel when someone praises you, gives you a really sincere compliment. It feels great, right?
It's fantastic. Fills you with warmth, appreciation.
And it has a real measurable impact too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Studies show that people who are praised 4 times a quarter tend to stay longer at their jobs and perform a lot better.
4 times a quarter. That's doable.
Totally. And it's not just about making someone feel good temporarily. Genuine praise helps people grow their potential, boosts confidence. It awakens their desire to excel.
But here's the key, right? You can't just be good job.
Exactly. Too generic. You need to be specific. Explain what they did well, and crucially, why it mattered, what impact did it have.
Like, that report you wrote was incredibly clear. It really helped us grasp the complex data, which saved us hours.
Perfect. That makes the praise real, memorable, actionable.
And we shouldn't underestimate the power of just small courtesies, daily life stuff.
The little things that add up.
Yeah, like be on time. Seems obvious, maybe. But it's a massive sign of respect for other people and their time.
It really communicates you value them.
And remember people's names. The book calls it the most important sound in our ears for most people.
It's so true. When someone remembers and uses your name, it's like a signal. You're seen, you're recognized, you matter. These little things, they build huge goodwill over time. They absolutely do. And coupled with that, watch your body language. That's key too.
Nonverbal cues.
Yeah, they often speak louder than our words. And the concept of mirroring. Yeah, subtly adjusting your body language to kind of match theirs. If they lean forward, maybe you lean forward slightly. mirroring their open posture. It sends this subconscious message.
Like, I'm like you.
Exactly. Look, I'm like you. I understand your viewpoint. It works subconsciously to make people feel comfortable, connected, super powerful in any interaction. From a casual chat to a big negotiation, creates that unspoken understanding.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into becoming a people magnet, it seems clear that these principles, which seem simple, almost common sense,
Mm-hmm.
when you consistently, intentionally apply them, they can dramatically improve your daily interactions, deepen relationships.
And ultimately contribute significantly to your overall happiness, your well-being.
It really boils down to shifting your focus, doesn't it? From yourself to others.
Yeah.
And just being really intentional about how you engage with the world.
That's the crucial part, isn't it? Being a doer, not just a reader or a listener.
Right?
You don't have to do everything we talked about all at once. That would be overwhelming.
Yeah, start small.
Exactly. The source encourages you. Start small. Choose the proposals you like best and start practicing them in your daily life. And the effect, it's like compound interest.
Mm.
Each positive interaction, each moment of real connection, it builds on itself, lays the groundwork for more fulfilling relationships down the line.
What's truly fascinating is how these small, consistent shifts can create such a huge ripple effect in your personal life, your professional life.
Definitely.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? What single small shift, based on what we've unpacked today? Maybe just remembering someone's name more often.
Or choosing peace over being right in that minor disagreement.
Yeah. What small shift could create the biggest, most positive ripple effect in your life starting today?
Just consider the quiet power of giving a genuine, specific compliment. Or the peace that comes from just walking away from an argument that doesn't matter.
Or the connection you build just by making someone feel truly important and heard.
Yeah, these aren't, grand, earth-shattering gestures, but they are the quiet, consistent building blocks of really extraordinary, fulfilling relationships. They enrich your life and the lives of people around you.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into becoming a people magnet. We really hope you feel well-informed, maybe inspired.
And ready to apply some of these insights.
Absolutely. Ready to make your day-to-day life just a little bit brighter, one interaction at a time.